There's a new idea the top AI people are all talking about. It's called loop engineering. The people who built these tools, Boris Cherny, who leads Claude Code, say he doesn't prompt Claude anymore. His job is to write loops. Peter Steinberger, who made OpenClaw, says stop prompting your agents and start designing loops that prompt them. It's being called the future. It's also pretty confusing and honestly a little bit overhyped, I think. So let me give you the straight answer, what this actually is and how to really do it. Loop engineering isn't new. It's a name for something that you've been already doing. People already do. You set a goal, the AI works towards it, checks itself, and keeps going. Do one thing, then the next until it's done. You just wire that up out of a few building blocks. It's a step-up ladder. We went from writing code by hand to prompting to giving the AI context, setting up its whole environment, the harness. Loop engineering is just the next floor. You stop doing tasks, instructing them, and start running a system. You start building the system that does them. First, let me clear up a myth. People call Claude Code and Codex coding tools. Sure, they started that way, but that is not what they are anymore. They are agentic harnesses, the engines that can run almost anything. People run whole businesses and operations on them right now, not just coding. And if a terminal scares you, there's Claude Cowork, same engine underneath, with a much more friendly front end, and no terminal at all. You tell it what to do and it goes and does it, not just chats back. No coding required. Here's the level most people are at today. You prompt an agent and it answers, you read it and prompt again. That is the co-piloting, vibe coding era. Chatting back and forth, but you are the bottleneck here. Every step waits on you to read it and reply. It is slow because there's a human in the loop at every single turn. Plenty of people already push past this, adding sub-agents and verification steps. Their own skills, even harnesses like Claude Code has its own mechanisms for sub-agents and looping, etc. You have agent teams, you have now dynamic workflows. All these are going a level above where we are right now to engineer these systems that run on its own. Loop engineering is just a name for doing that on purpose. So what is a loop really? At a very foundational level, it has a goal and does some work and does some verification with an exit condition. And if the verification is clear, if the condition is met, it exits. Otherwise, it keeps looping. So that is in essence what a loop is. It could be one single loop. A system could have multiple loops, autonomous loops, all sorts of loops. It's a framework for how your system runs. You set the goal once or multiple goals, then the system works towards the goal and checks the result. And if it hits the goal, it stops. If not, it keeps going. The clever part of loop engineering is wiring it up when it has to keep going, when it has to steer itself, and when it has to spin up sub-agents, use other tools, and when it has to wake itself back up. And some of this is already based on the harness what you're working with, whether it is Codex or Claude Code. These things are baked into the harness itself. For example, the /goal command, /loop command, /schedule command for scheduled tasks. Loop engineering is you taking control of that cycle and shaping them up the way you want systems to run. So every loop, whether it is single loop or a loop at a system level, has a goal or multiple goals. And the loop also needs checks, verification. But here's the part people miss at a fundamental level. The verification in a prompt is not actually verification. It's more of a suggestion these days. It's not automatic. A loop without a hard check will happily tell you, especially working with lower models or even with Opus 4.7, which is a big model, we had this problem. It would confidently tell you something had been done when it hadn't actually done what it had been asked to do. So bake the check into the harness or engineered loop. One of the ways to do it is to have stop hooks. This is the same idea behind plugins like Rolf Loop or Superpowers. They do enforce stop hooks to check, have I actually finished what I had been asked to do? If not, keep going. This is what a Rolf Loop does. And there are other techniques as well. An agent does something, use a separate checker to check its work. Don't let the agent grade its own homework. Check against something real, a passing test, or a separate set of eyes that did not do the work. So instead of putting your verification in a prompt, use the harness's abilities like stop hooks or a different thread to verify the agent's work. The next building block for this loop engineering is memory. The agent gets its context from system prompt and using the tools it has access to. When a conversation ends, it loses that context. The next run, it has no memory of the last time. So the memory lives in files. For plain files on disk that it reads, you can design these files as MD files or HTML files where you can keep your goals, your notes, etc. and have instructions in skill to make it read from these files. I keep mine in an Obsidian vault. In my setup, it is wired with a few skills, agent protocol, memory sync, and project management, and always updates the right files. Agent protocol here says read the necessary files. Memory sync asks it to update the files, not just to read from it. From the feedback it gets from me, update the existing memories, and also organize every task into projects, which is done by the project management skill. So with the help of a bunch of these skills and the right structure, you can engineer the memory of the loop so it behaves correctly. So the real building blocks. So how do you actually build a loop? Not with one command, you have several building blocks, /go, /loop, routines. When you're talking about Claude Code, you have similar things for other harnesses, for example, codecs. You have subagents, you have agent teams, and you also have hooks. Let me show you these building blocks, the real ones. First, /goal. If you give it a finish line, it can actually check. Like keep going until the auth test pass and lint is clean. It starts working straight away. And after every turn, a separate fast model reads what happened and decides, are we there yet? Real skill is writing a finish line, pick one measurable end state, and make it actually run the check. Next, /loop. Where a goal works until something is true, the loop just runs a prompt over and over again. Give it an interval and a job, /loop, 5 minutes, check the deploy and tell me what happened. And it turns that into a schedule and runs it. Leave the interval off and Claude picks the gap itself. It waits while a build is active, longer when it's quiet. Or a bare /loop runs built-in maintenance prompt. Whatever you put down in your loop MD file. It lives inside your session, which means if you close your session, it won't work any longer. You stop it with the escape key, or it auto expires after 7 days. So a loop you forgot about can't just run forever. But /loop needs the session open. What if you want it running while your laptop is shut? Then you reach for the durable schedulers. Routines run on Anthropic's cloud. No machine needed, on a schedule, an API call, or a GitHub event. Down to once an hour. Desktop scheduled tasks run on your own machine instead. So they can touch your local files down to once a minute. And underneath it all, it's all just plain cron. That's the heartbeat that wakes the whole thing up. Now the trick that powers all of it, hooks. Little checks that fire at set moments in the agent's life. The one that matters for loops is the stop hook. It fires the instant the agent tries to finish. Your check runs, and if the work isn't really done, it says block, keep going, and the agent does not stop. A stop that refuses stop, that single move is what /goal and every loop plugin are built on. And if you'd rather not script it yourself, the official Ralph loop plugin wires this stop hook trick for you. It refeeds your prompt every time the agent stops with a max iterations flag and a completion promise to end on. When one agent isn't enough, it hands work to subagents. Subagents are the next building block, what you can engineer your loops with. Each one runs in its own separate context, does its piece, and passes back just the summary so your main thread stays clean. They run in parallel. You push one to the background with Ctrl-B in Claude Code, watch them with /task. This is a new thing that Claude has released, and you can even point them at a cheaper, faster model like Haiku for simpler tasks to keep the cost down. And the experimental big one, agent teams. You flip it on with this environment variable here, single setting, and the lead agent splits the work and spawns teammates to run it. Unlike subagents, each teammates have their own context. Each teammate has a shared tasklet that it reads from a mailbox, even challenging each other. Not just individual workers, a real team-like structure reporting up. So that's the toolkit. I've been specifically talking about Claude Code. but similar things are possible in Codex. Now let me show you how it comes together in a loop I actually run every single day. Every morning a scheduled routine kicks off on its own. It scans for breakout videos in my niche, scores them, and updates a ranked board of what I should make next. I wake up to a list, I pick one, approve it, and the system reverse engineers the winner and builds the script for me. In fact, this video came off that board. And it's the same pattern everywhere in my world. One loop surfaces fresh Instagram leads for my outreach every day. Another finds local businesses with no website and drafts the messages to reach out, including building the website in a loop. In a smaller loop on its own, there are several loops working together. I open a plugin, set a schedule, and tell it what done looks like. After that, my only job is to steer it. And this is a real point. One loop becomes many. A loop spins up subagents. Subagents become a team, and teams run your whole operation. Content leads. Your system is comprised of multiple loops that run your whole operation, running as loops that feed each other. You stop doing the tasks and you start running the system. Okay, your turn. Think about your own work for a second. What do you do over and over that a loop could run while you sleep? Here are a few real ones from my world to spark it. First, staying on top of everything. Every couple of days, my system writes itself a status update, and once a week, a full review. It reads what changed across projects and tells me what needs my attention. I just read it and steer. The loop does the digging, I make the call. Second is finding customers. I have a loop that reads comments from posts from competition and find people who are a good fit for my offers, scores them, and takes the best fitting prospects, drafts messages for them, and adds to my outreach pipeline. I just approve and send. Or it goes the other way. It finds local businesses, no website at all. I have a skill called website cold outreach, which I did another video on. This one actually finds businesses with no site, does the outreach for me, builds a website, sends them the prototyped website as the free value, and if they reply, I take it from there. Third, actual service work. I build websites for other people using a website skill and Cloudflare. A loop can find the prospect, build the page, and prep the message, all before I sit down. Or just keeping informed. A loop that reads your emails, your support tickets, your dashboards, and tells you a few things that actually matter today. So really, are loops good or bad? Loops aren't magically good or bad. It's just engineering. Wire one up badly and all you get is garbage. Garbage in, garbage out on a schedule. So keep a human in the loop. Let it do the heavy lifting, but you review anything before anything ships. The review step is crucial, but that should not become the bottleneck. Once you see the system is working the way you want it to work, you can write skills to auto-approve tasks. You can write specific scoring criteria whether to approve them automatically or not. Then you take out the human in the loop equation. So you go level up in this engineering process. So stripped of the hype, here's what a loop actually is. Systems that you setting up multiple goals and let them run, checks itself and self-improves. Getting a little better each time. You're not the worker in it anymore, you're the one steering. That's the whole shift. So here's your first step. If you've got Claude or Codex or Hermes or OpenClaw, you can try this today. Give them real goals of your system, add stop conditions, and let them run. Grab the prompt pack below to start. It's the building blocks I just showed you, ready to go. The link goes to the full system lives in my community. You can check out my community as well. Set the goal, steer the system, and keep the final say. That is loop engineering for you. Go build that.